I'd buy them. I would just so I could play them on the
That's the
road.
one thing
I'd do it. I'd.
that I miss the most since my hands got worse. It is my Game Boy. I loved my Game Boy. That was like my go-to thing. So, but yeah, Game Boy, and the battery would last like forever too.
Game Boy, dude.
You know, Game Boys were amazing, and they
Mm-hmm.
still are. And I just hope that their new systems have like mouse compatibilities, like my tablet does, where I can plug in a
Right.
mouse. Since I can't use touch, I can use a mouse on it, but some apps still don't work it, which is weird, but yeah. What do you think about the VR? The VR thing?
Virtual reality.
Yeah.
I think virtual reality has some years. I think they're very, very early. I think people are very excited. I think developers are more excited about them than the gamers are. That's what I think. I think the developers are more excited about it, and the gamers are sitting here going, "We don't want to pay $500." And the
Yeah.
developers are like, "But it's totally worth it." And we're sitting here telling them, "No, it's really not. Like we don't really." And I think it's going to be 2, 3, I mean, even probably even 10 for all we know, until the VR market is really, there. That people are all into VR. That the headsets aren't as big. They're not as bulky. This is their test run. These are their test phases, and you're going to see tons of them pop up. I bet there'll be
VR porn.
9, 10, 11. Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think there'll be different headsets. HTC's made one, Sony's making their Morpheus, Oculus Rift, now owned by Facebook, has theirs. We're gonna see a bunch. I think we're gonna see a bunch of different headsets come about, and there's gonna be this like market of everybody just trying to create stuff for VR, and we're all gonna say, "Oh my gosh, there's just so much VR crap." We just got to buy VR stuff. The developers will sort of make a switch, but it's like twisting somebody's arm to tell them to buy something that they really don't want, at the moment. Like,
Tonto asked, what do you think of the toy type games like Disney Infinity? Do you think it has peaked? See, I always wanted that. Disney Infinity.
yeah,
But I never played it.
yeah, Disney Infinity.
It intrigues me. But I don't want to buy a game where I gotta buy the toys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I mean, it's it's a new market. Well, I mean, not it's a video game, but it's a new market within a market. It's the toy plus video game type market. It's Disney Infinity and Skylanders, but look, Skylanders is doing great. People love it. It's got a cult following, of people who just can't get enough of it. I think it's become the next. I think it's the new role playing. It's an evolution of role playing games from when we all used to sit in basements and get out a board and play Dungeons and Dragons. That was what we. Now it's that. Yeah, Vale brings up a point.
Yeah.
Being held against your will to buy figures and buy DLC. I think the younger generation will definitely jump into it, and we didn't grow up with it, so we don't like it. But these kids, our kids, will grow up and say they love them, and it's just normal to them. Like Tonto was saying, his daughter totally loves it, and that's who it appeals to anyway. It's rated everybody for kids 10 and below, or not 10 and below, but 10 and up.
I love it. I mean, I
That's
think the game's awesome. I just hate the fact that you gotta
yeah.
buy 50 characters to play
Bye,
as
bye,
them,
bye, 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 bye.
And that's how you make your money too. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. Got them.
you know, you can't really hate on it. I mean,
They,
it's really a
no,
good
I mean,
market. They
it's
thought it
a, it's
out.
a, it's a smart
Yeah.
market. It's like, how do we get people to play and buy
Yeah.
at the same time?
Are you a Mega Man fan?
I am a Mega Man fan.
Did you get Mighty Number 9?
I have, I did not,
I bought it. I didn't
but
play it yet. I got it in the mail today.
I have not played it. I need to because I played all the other
Yeah.
Mega Mans. But
That's where I am too.
I think with age, I'm becoming like more lethargic. I'm those series that I used to follow so hard. Sometimes I will sit down and just say, you know what, I'm just going to give it a little while, and I think it just me growing up. And maybe not growing up. I shouldn't use that term. Getting older. I just I love it. I know I want to play it. I even think about it in my head and say, I really do want to play that. But I'm becoming an adult, and I'm becoming that asinine, boring, complacent adult that I never wanted to become, that I said I would never become. I'm going to end up becoming that. And I can feel it. I can feel it already.
What about Well, I like Mega Man, but I could tell you like me and Pi had this whole argument. I wouldn't say it was an argument, conversation, I guess. But we were watching this stream, and this girl was playing Mega Man 2 or 3, I don't know, one of them. And she was literally
Right.
like lost on where to go. And I'm like, it's two ways. How do you get lost? You either go left or you go right. And Pi misunderstood that to him as saying Mega Man was easy, which I totally did not think. But I tell you that whole conversation started a competition between me and Lost Pi to see who could complete Mega Man, the collection series, to
Right.
between each other who could complete it first. And as you can see there, Pi beat me. But man, when I started,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I thought this would be like so much easier than it was 10 years ago. And I knew how to play games now. It was still
Right.
like one of the hardest games that I've ever played. Even against today's games. Mega Man is still really rough.
It's I think this is a topic we actually covered on the podcast too. Is do you think games have become more streamlined nowadays? Become easier? The tutorials, the all this stuff to try and like progressively pull you into the game, and it's because we've switched to a different market. The casual gamer, the guy who plays a game every month, one game.
Yeah.
That's it. And they don't spend the amount of time we do playing games, living games, breathing games almost. And yeah, it's become a thing like that where you got to help those people along, and by helping those people along, you make the games easier. By making the games easier, you make the games not fun for the super addicted gamers like
Yeah.
us. We're saying the too easy anymore. What happened?
I like a challenge.
What happened?
I
Yeah,
don't
we
want to
like the
breathe.
challenge and
breeze through a game in 12 hours, you know. And when I buy a game, I wanna, feel like there's a purpose for $60 and not just 10 hours.
Yeah.
You know.
They want to be, you want to be challenged. I think a lot of us, we wanted to have a challenge. It gets back on the competition thing. We love challenges, and we love seeing people complete challenges and do things that most would say are not doable. You know, people will fail a mission and just say, "Oh, that mission's impossible. Nobody can beat it." You know, and then your friend comes over and does it, and you're so shocked by how did he do that? How did he beat this? You know, you don't have that anymore. You don't have those friends. You don't have that going on. It's is it saddening? Yeah, I mean, but I understand why. I just wish that sometimes they would cater, maybe not cater, but give something challenging to the gamers nowadays to keep us in that, you know, bring the difficulty back.
Right. When Val says how they feel about games like Dark Souls,
Like Dark Souls.
being the old school Hellfest.
The old school difficulty. Yeah. Dark Souls is great. I mean, and Dark Souls is so great in terms of difficulty that people stream it because of the difficulty. You know? Like, people stream Dark Souls and literally put in the title, I've seen it, hardest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
They'll say it. I mean, and then you got the speedrunners, the guys who can beat the game as quick as they can because they've played it so much, they know it so well. That is one of those games that brings the difficulty back that we like to see. But it's one in a few because all the other games nowadays are not like that. So Dark Souls, keep doing what you're doing. We need you to keep the gamers happy.
So, when it comes to podcasts, what's your opinion on
Podcast.
different approach to the type of people you interview?
Good question. We really haven't been doing the podcast too long, so I don't think I can give you a really good answer as to who we go out and get, because as of this moment, we have only gotten streamers and YouTubers, and we haven't grabbed no celebrities as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know. We haven't gotten any, sports players. We haven't gotten anything along those lines, any magicians, television superstars, nothing like that. So, but in terms of format on a podcast, I think it should be about entertainment and discussion. You got to balance it, yes, and that can sometimes be a tricky thing to do. I mean, we battled with it from the first podcast we done to the podcast we are going to do Sunday. Is that balance between when are we still entertaining, or are we just pushing?
Right.
And with our first podcast, we asked everybody for submissions, videos, so that we could showcase them on the podcast, video submissions. And 6 or 7 of them did. And we played their videos. And do you know what? We played those videos, and everybody watching the podcast said that was the dullest moment of the podcast, was seeing the highlights. So we turned around and said, okay, maybe showcasing other people's content, even though we have great intentions, is just not probably not doable, and it doesn't keep the people entertained, and we're here to entertain. I